So I understand that you've just been
Barbie Dreamfest is the new Willy Wonka experience. No, it's just ghetto. It's just a ghetto event that was mismanaged. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination you could really call this the ultimate Barbie fan weekend because it was a slap in the face to a lot of people that went. I've seen the same pictures and videos as everyone else, and I can say if this is what I experienced, I would be very upset. I would want my money back. Now, this event itself was run by Mischief Management, who I guess licensed out all the Mattel stuff. A lot of people online understand them to be scammers, if not just irresponsible event planners in general. So while Mattel themselves weren't the ones putting out a cardboard cutout in a patch of grass, they let this happen. And more than anything, I think this is really sad because of how many people that truly love Barbie, one, attended, but also were involved behind the scenes. They had voice actors from the show, they had designers, they had celebrities, all these people that really wanted to celebrate Barbie genuinely. So to take all that excitement and then match it with a handful of pink decorations in a way too big, depressing gray convention center space is like actually disrespectful. There being a $450 option for something like this doesn't make any sense. And I do think we need to get away from the narrative of thinking people who pay this kind of money deserve to be disappointed. Like, that's wrong. The response should not be, haha, that's what you get. Like, it should be, oh no, I'm very sorry that happened to you. And I don't think the takeaway should be Barbie doesn't care about the community and they want to scam people, because that's not true. But they do need to do better, and they do need to make sure that things like this never happen again. But let me know what you guys think.
So there's a situation unfolding right now that's getting a lot of attention online. And honestly, once you see what people walked into, it's not hard to understand why. A highly promoted event called the Barbie Dreamfest was supposed to be this big family-friendly experience centered around young girls, inspiration, and entertainment. On paper, it sounds like something that should be exciting, immersive, and memorable, and a kind of event where parents bring their kids expecting something creative, something fun, something that actually feels like a dream. But when people showed up, what they found was something very different. And this is where things started to fall apart. Instead of a vibrant, imaginative environment, attendees describe what looks more like a basic convention setup, an open warehouse space, scattered booths, minimal decoration, and very little of the energy you expect from a brand built on imagination. And that disconnect is hard to ignore because this wasn't just a small local event. There were recognizable names attached to this. You had high profile figures like Serena Williams and Angel Reese scheduled as guest speakers. On paper, that should bring attention, that should bring turnout, that should bring excitement. But according to what we're seeing, attendance was extremely low. In some cases, people are describing it as nearly empty. And that raises a real question, because how does an event with major branding, recognizable guests, and a clear target audience end up missing this mark badly? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break this down, look at the different perspectives, and then I'll give my thoughts. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I want you guys to check this out. As you guys can see, it says organizer promises full refunds after backlash over Fort Lauderdale Barbie Dreamfest. Now that you guys actually see the backlash, and the backlash was so detrimental that refunds had to be issued, but I also want you guys to see the full picture in regards to why, based on the customers and the individuals who actually went to this event, expecting it to be a turnout, but it ended up being a failure, unfortunately.
I'm not one to complain, and usually I just suck it up. But at this Barbie Dreamfest, it said it opened at 9. We weren't let in till 9:45, and vendors were still arriving and setting up shop. Once we finally got in, it was very underwhelming. The space was huge, and there was just so much emptiness.
Y'all, what? But let's do it for the kids.
This was their 80s roller skating rink, which was tiny and had no lights. There was no way any adults would have been able to skate in there. This was their Barbie dream house, a cardboard standing box with a VW wagon. It would have been nice, but the doors were closed, so you couldn't even go inside of it. As you can see, everything else was just spread out, open, very empty, very scarce, and it was just fee after fee.
Y'all, we came to this because it was so hyped online. It was, a bunch of vendors. They made it seem like there was so much to do. This is a huge space, okay, at the Broward Convention Center. It is empty. Empty, okay? Even some of the things like you have to pay for everything extra. So we paid for $70 a ticket to get in, $20 to pay for parking, and then on top of that, you're paying for a picture. You're paying for every little thing at every little vendor. Come on now, like, this is what you get for free. This.
To clarify, you are able to roller skate for free. You are able to ride the bikes for free. You can go to the Michaels vendor and you are able to take a picture, they print it for you, and you can decorate your own frame for free. Michaels saved the day for this event because it was not worth what we paid for, and I recommend you do not go.
Events at this scale just aren't working. Okay, this right here is the Barbie Dreamfest or Barbie Nightmare Fest because people paid close to $1,000 to go here, counting hotels, and $250 tickets. And this is what they were met with. Now, I'm not a Barbie fan, okay, but I am familiar with Barbie because of the movie. I have 2 girls. This right here is supposed to be the Barbie Dream House. If this is all that Barbie could dream up, I would question her capacity for imagination. Now, obviously, this is giving Willy Wonka experience vibes, absolutely, okay? This right here, this roller derby, looks like something that would be set up at a 5K. But this actually might be worse than the Willy Wonka experience because there were celebrity signings promised here. Yes, these were the celebrities that were supposed to show up and sign. Serena Williams, Angel Reese, and everybody else here. So this actually might be the new event that we compare other events to because this is worse than the Willy Wonka experience. We need to bring back small batch events because these large ones that are happening at expo centers, these are greedy, okay? They are maximizing the amount of tickets they can sell, and they're always underwhelming, and there's so much negative space. I'd like to hear in the comments below what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Dream big and turn lessons into blessings. I think it's important for you to take every L on the chin and turn it into a positive and make it a blessing. I'm just so happy and grateful and graceful that I was able to experience everything in life that I have experienced, from the negative to the positive, because it has shaped me into the woman that I am today. I wouldn't be able to be here and be able to experience these things without those moments, and I wouldn't change anything. So I'm really grateful and graceful, and I hope you women just continue to dream big, have goals, know that you can do anything you put your mind to. You are next, you are the boss, you are a queen, you belong, you're a blessing. Continue to push through life. I know things do get really hard, but just know you matter, and we dearly care about you, and just continue to stay blessed, and Angel loves you.
Barbie Dreamfest? More like Barbie Nightmare Fest. What is this? As your local Tumblr historian, I fear I need to break this story to you that has been blowing up on Twitter and Reddit this morning. Because as Reddit user Hell Hotel Show has mentioned, they totally got DashCon. Barbie Dreamfest was advertised as a first-of-its-kind Barbie fan convention that was supposed to feature celebrity guests, interactive exhibits, and photo ops. And honestly, their website looked very legit, and the celebrity guest lineup looked promising, inspiring guests to talk to fans of Barbie. That makes sense. Yeah, Barbie Dreamhouse photo op sounds fun. Explore a larger-than-life version of Barbie's front yard. I have not seen literally anybody post in front of Barbie's dream house yet. I just keep seeing what looks like Barbie's picnic patch. Maybe where's the dream house? That's okay. Maybe they can have fun at the 80s disco roller rink. That's... Oh, okay. You know what? Since you're not gonna get all sweaty roller skating, maybe the glam bar could be fun. The glam bar. How we getting glam here, guys? I don't think the fashion show has happened yet, but I'm starting to doubt that anything about this runway will be high energy. No, Mattel themselves was not putting this on. This company, Mischief Management, licensed out Barbie from Mattel to be able to throw this fan fest. The sponsors and partners that they were able to get as well are all very established companies like Michaels, Dillard's, Unique Vintage. On one hand, I have to give credit where credit is due. These pieces individually do all look very nice. Problem is that this type of a space works really well for like the artist's alley at a giant comic book or anime convention, but it definitely does not translate into dreamy enough for Barbie's Dreamfest. When you're putting on something like this, you've got to think about how all of your individual pieces are going to look in the bigger picture of your venue, of your event space, and they didn't seem to do that here. And those types of details matter, especially when this is how much you are charging for admission to your event for the weekend. If you want to charge $250 $50 and $450 for the VIP passes, you need to provide a VIP experience. And through a Barbie lens, this doesn't look VIP. Who knows, maybe Barbie the movie live in concert will end up being so fun it saves the weekend. Or the people who paid almost $50 extra to be able to see it.
All right. So from the clips and reports circulating online, the turnout for this event was surprisingly low. And that's what's catching people off guard, because when you hear names like Serena Williams, you expect interest, you expect a draw. The same goes for Angel Reese, who is a prominent figure in women's basketball with a strong presence in sports media. So on the surface, the ingredients were there, but here's where things don't quite add up. Despite the recognizable names and sponsorships, the event appears to have struggled to bring people in. And when you look at the footage, as we just seen, the bigger issue becomes clear. It's not just who was there, it's what people experience when they arrived, because expectations matter. When something is marketed as a dream fest, especially for children, parents are expecting more than just a venue with booths. They're expecting an environment, they're expecting energy, they're expecting something that feels worth the time, effort, and money. And when that expectation isn't met, that's where frustration comes in. This is where the conversation becomes important, because it's not necessarily about any one individual. It's about alignment. When you're putting together an event for young girls and families, every piece of it matters. The branding, the atmosphere, the messaging, and yes, even the choice of speakers. Different public figures resonate with different audiences. Some have a broadly family friendly appeal that naturally draws parents and children. Others may connect more strongly with specific audiences. Neither is inherently wrong, but when you're planning an event like this, that alignment has to be intentional. And this is where people start asking questions. Did the event match what families were expecting? Did the event match what families were expecting? Did the overall presentation reflect the audience it was trying to attract? Because from the outside looking in, there seems to be a gap. And then you add in the fact that refunds are now being issued. That's a big signal, because once refunds enter the picture, it's no longer just online criticism. It's an acknowledgement that the experience didn't meet expectations. And at that point, the conversation shifts from low turnout to something more serious, right? Execution, planning, and also accountability. So I want you guys to now check this out.
Open up a school, an all-girls school, and just being able to help, like I said, young women, financial literacy, being a philanthropist, being a basketball player, being a model, like just teaching the business side of things, because I was never really taught those things. I had to learn everything on the fly and figure things out. So obviously we're gonna be learning for sure, but we're gonna also be able to understand how to build a brand, and going to school for that. And I don't know how it's gonna work, but we're gonna figure it out.
You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna manifest it. Claiming it right here today.
Yes.
The School of Angel Reese.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And you know.
Now, let's zoom out a bit, because this situation highlights a few bigger issues that are worth paying attention to. First, there's the issue of trust. Because when families spend money on events, especially one marketed towards kids, they're not just buying a ticket, they're buying into an experience. And if that experience doesn't match up what was advertised, that creates a real sense of disappointment. And this is where organizers have to be careful, because once that trust is broken, it doesn't just affect one event, it affects how people approach the next one. A key issue is to consider here is expectation versus reality. And if you're branding something as a large scale, high energy, dreamlike experience, then the execution has to reflect that. Otherwise, you create a disconnect that people notice immediately. And in today's environment, those reactions spread fast. Second, there's the conversation around public figures and brand alignment. Supporters of athletes like Angel Reese would argue, and it's a fair point, that she represents confidence, success, and high-level achievement. She's accomplished, she's visible, and she connects with a specific audience. That perspective deserves to be acknowledged. However, this is where the debate becomes important, because when it comes to events targeted at young children, especially in a family setting, parents tend to evaluate things differently. They're not just looking at popularity. They're looking at overall image, messaging, and whether it aligns with what they want their kids to be exposed to. And that doesn't mean everyone is going to agree. Different families have different standards, but that difference in expectations plays a major role in turnout and engagement. And this is also why comparisons come up. Some public figures are perceived as having a more universally family-friendly presence, which can make them a stronger draw in these specific environments. Others may have a more distinct or a niche appeal. Again, that's not about dismissing anyone's accomplishments. It's about understanding how audience perception works in real-world settings. And finally, there's a broader trend here because we're seeing more events lean heavily on branding, celebrity appearances, and social media attention. But here's the reality: those things can get people interested, but they can't carry the entire experience because the venue didn't seem as packed as you guys see. It would seem very much empty. And if the execution, right, isn't there, people will notice immediately. And when they do, the reaction is exactly what we're seeing right now, family. And it's just the truth of it all, right? I'm not trying to bash the event. I'm not trying to sit there and belittle it. I'm just speaking out the facts because perception matters.
I feel like this is the best representation of the weekend. Is that the inflatable bee is deflating?
A Fort Lauderdale event is going viral for all of the wrong reasons. What was supposed to be the ultimate Barbie Dreamfest at the Broward County Convention Center, according to attendees, was more like a disaster. Now complaints are piling up and calls for a refund. We're on your side this afternoon to try to get some answers, and I spoke to one local mom who says she left disappointed.
Dream House is made of cardboard. The 80s disco roller rink. There is no music. There is no lights.
It was the Fort Lauderdale Barbie Dreamfest sold as the ultimate fan experience with unforgettable and immersive activations.
So this event right now is people definitely trying to make the best of it. Bless them.
It was unforgettable, all right, just not the way people expected, according to Cherry Bonbon, who came down from Orlando.
Don't let your dreams be dreams at Barbie Dreamfest.
For many, life in plastic wasn't so fantastic. Some families paid more than $200 for tickets.
We were all told it was going to be the Barbie Dream House. It was going to be spectacular, interactive Dream House. And it was a cardboard cutout and a VW wagon with some AstroTurf on the floor.
South Florida mom Devin Kirby, who runs the Mom Approved Miami page, was even invited to moderate a panel.
Honestly, I was very underwhelmed and I was very disappointed because I love Barbie. I'm a huge fan. My daughter is a huge fan, and we were so looking forward to it being this incredible, immersive experience.
From the underwhelming decor to the outdated merch.
These are the magnets that say 2024. These are the posters that say 2024.
And the lack of activities.
I saw a few kids crying and sitting down because there was nothing for them to do.
We reached out to the event coordinator, Mischief Management, and received the statement from the spokesperson and Mattel that read in part they're working to address complaints and are issuing full refunds to all ticket holders. As for Cherry, she'll also be waiting on her swag bag.
So they will apparently be mailed to us. We're really crossing our fingers.
And Mischief Management told me all guests received an email that their refund will be automatically credited back to their original payment and they won't have to do.
I could imagine how, as you just seen that mother basically explaining how kids were crying and how immersive she thought the experience would be because her and her daughter could resonate with being so, infatuated and loving, the whole concept of Barbie and what Barbie comes with and Barbies in the movie and things like that. And just to come to an event and then it seemed as though it comes off scamish. I'm not saying the company that was their intention. Their intention was to deliver an overall experience in which it would be memorable for families and also young little girls that would be inspired. And it was to basically be surrendered around the motto of dreaming, right? And being able to set goals and be able to understand that you can dream the biggest of the biggest and you can achieve it. But it's also hard because it comes across like the parents had to do most of the work for their children who they came there thinking that it would be immersive experience because they both resonated with something that will be memorable for decades and years to come by where they grow up and they can say, I remember when I did this with mommy and we rocked with Barbie and Barbie was always my thing as a little girl. Me and my mother loved Barbie and we did. But now it seems as though this is where it could come off scamish perception wise, because now you have the mothers and the parents basically trying to make the best out of it, the best they could, and kudos to them, while they're also trying to continue to maintain and sustain the excitement because the expectation didn't meet the perception that this company, when it came to the Barbie Fest, basically put out there. And now you got the parents doing most of the work that the event basically promised that they would deliver, and the expectations didn't meet the standard that they set for themselves as the business who sat there and was supposed to model around the Dream Fest and center it around Barbies and things like that. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is this situation comes to a few clear takeaways. First, there's a difference between promotion and delivery, and people can tell the difference very quickly. You can have a strong branding, recognizable names, and solid marketing, but if the experience itself doesn't match that's what people are going to focus on, right? If it doesn't match. Second, alignment matters. When you are targeting families and young children, every decision from the environment to the messaging to the overall presentation has to reflect that audience. If there's a mismatch, the results tend to speak for themselves, and that's why you have mothers basically doing the work that the event was supposed to present and trying to make the best out of it, what they got, while also trying to keep the excitement up to not disappoint their kids. And I could imagine how heartbroken that was for the parents and also for the kids. And not saying that this was the company intentions, but also it's important to have a conversation in regards of, just from a marketing standpoint and from a business perspective, if there's a mismatch, the results tend to speak for themselves. And third, accountability is key. The fact that refunds are being issued tells you that something didn't go according to plan. And that's not a small detail. That's a clear indicator that expectations weren't met. Now, I think this is where the conversation should stay focused. It's easy to turn situations like this into something personal, but that doesn't really move the discussion forward. A more productive approach is to just look at what actually happened. Identify where things didn't line up and ask what could have been done differently next time. Because ultimately, that's how you improve these kind of events. Not just for organizers, but for families they are meant to serve. So overall, it's unfortunate. This looked like a clear case of an event that didn't deliver on what it promised, and people responded accordingly. But I want to hear from you. Do you think this was mainly an execution issue, a branding issue, or a mix of both? Would it made a difference, for example, if someone like Caitlin Clark was there? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you find this video breakdown helpful, make sure you like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next one, family. Peace.